This is the Ag Engineering Podcast that rolls right into the details on tools, tips, and techniques that improve you, your farm, and our world. I'm your host, Andy Chamberlain from the University of Vermont Extension, and this podcast is sponsored by Northeast SARE. Thanks for listening. Today's episode comes to you from the Hudson Valley area in New York, where my colleague Chris Callahan and I visit Sue Decker of Blue Star Farm. We got to know a little bit about her and her starting greenhouse benches in the previous episode. Today, I'd like to share with you the rest of the tour as she shows us around her high tunnels and her wash and pack area. Thanks to Chris for leading the majority of this conversation so I could focus on photos and videos. So make sure you check out our YouTube and Instagram channel so you can see that content as well. You'll hear a brief introduction by her again, and then we'll get into the tour.
So I'm Sue Decker from Blue Star Farm. We are located in Stuyvesant, New York, and that's about half an hour south of Albany. We grow year-round. We're in unheated tunnels, and we're also 5 acres on rented property. We're standing right now in front of our heated benches, and we run these year-round. They are currently have some pepper seedlings on them right now.
Yeah, want to do a little more walking and talking?
Yeah, right. Sure. So let's go to our micro house. Ah.
Love the sliding door.
I like it too. It definitely keeps the rodents out.
And a nice,
yeah,
nice weather stripping.
You have to
too.
learn how to step over it, but. So this was our first house that we bought. So like I said,
This was the one you thought would do it,
right? I
Yeah.
thought this is perfect. I don't need anything else. And this is just devoted to microgreens at this point. So I'm just gonna hit a few places with water here.
It's a cute little house.
It's awesome.
Well constructed little house.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the thing is about this is, we rotate the trays here in micros, and definitely there's some microclimate that is created by doing them on stands like this without light for every single bench. But
if there were lights, you couldn't water this quickly.
Right. But in the heat of July, it works for us too, and we actually cover the top trays with a little bit of shade. All right, so we were in high tunnel.
Yeah.
1. So this is high tunnel 2, which really kind of has more of our, our January, February seedings of lettuce. We kind of redid everything since we had some.
And are they numbered in terms of their construction order?
As we built them?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm just noting this one has a double sliding door with a larger opening. Was that?
Yeah, we actually redid the openings on this. They came with 8-foot openings, and this actually came with it was a wooden wall. So we actually built the end walls from scratch. We still have one of the roll-up doors in the back, and for winter growing, it always gets shaded out, so You're always going to have a little bit poorer growth there because you just don't have the sun.
So have you bought all these tunnels so far used?
No. No, the first 2 we bought used, and then the third one and the cat tunnels we bought new. And almost all of them we were able to do with some grant money.
Okay.
So they changed the ruling on the size the last time around, and we had already ordered our 144-foot tunnel, and we couldn't go over 96 feet. So we said, well, okay, how about 2 100-foot ones? And so they said, yeah, that's fine. Yeah. So that was, we built all 3 of them at once.
I think you mentioned earlier you do end up doing some trellis crops.
Yes.
Tomatoes and cukes and things like that. So, yeah. In the same houses.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, these, you can see where the
Yep.
Sisal twine was from the last tomatoes that we had in here. We do have an unusual issue in our first two houses in that we have peanut root knot nematode. So I have not been able to get rid of that yet. I can't prove it, but I really think it came in on a source of peanut meal as nitrogen. So I would not recommend that to anybody.
Peanut root knot
Not
nematode.
We had the nematode identified.
Wow.
Twice.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and because it never freezes in here, and I haven't moved to actually losing the skin for a winter, because our winter crops are so important to us.
Right.
We've tried the solarizing, we've tried the mustard, we tried a biological, and nothing has really worked yet. So.
Steaming?
Yeah, that's next on the list. So we are working with a woman out of Kingston who has done the coursework with Elaine Ingham.
Okay.
That, we're going to try that biological approach here through the summer, because we wouldn't steam probably until the fall anyway.
Yeah.
And see if perhaps it makes a difference. We in High Tunnel 1 last year, we took the skin off, and we got some good rain last year, and we were able to grow a good crop of mustard and solarize. So maybe it's going to be better there.
Yeah.
We're not going to plant any tomato crops in this tunnel this year. We're going to try and go fallow for the summer.
So does it mainly hit the tomatoes? Is that the...
It mainly hits the tomatoes. We haven't had success. We haven't grown cucumbers in here for years because they're a lot more sensitive to it. So we kind of keep those going in the other tunnels.
And so the other than the biological treatment, the environmental treatment would be freezing. Is that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, I suspect that, it's more of an issue peanut root knot nematode. It's not something you hear about in the Northeast.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I've tried to even connect with farmers like in Georgia.
That's what somebody I'm sure is...
Yeah, and I haven't really made the right connection yet. I'm sure that somebody has had the same problem. Maybe not in a greenhouse.
But in terms of treatments, it would have to be an organic grower, most likely. Yeah, right.
Exactly, and that's always been the problem.
Yeah. Wow.
So.
And how does it show up with the tomatoes?
Well, we mainly do cherry tomatoes, and quite frankly, the yield is still quite fine. There are definitely varietal differences. Definitely Sakura, which is nematode resistant, is successful.
Wow.
Whenever we pull the plants, there's no galls on the roots, ever.
Huh. Wow.
And everything else does.
Yeah.
So that's a great variety for that purpose. But, like I said, we're not really trying to get early tomatoes, and we're usually out by after Labor Day, so we can function with it.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is High Tunnel 3. So this is our largest house. And right now we're transitioning. So we have some winter crops here of chard and spinach. Spinach is kind of on its way out. And we just planted basil this morning. And we've got 2 successions of snap peas, which we also transplant so we can get really thick stands.
That's cool.
Yeah, and then we have one gargantuan little patch of carrots here, which we experimented with this variety. It is, I want to say Romance. It's a 70-day carrot, and I wouldn't do a 70-day carrot because it's got more top than bottom at this point.
pretty densely in there too.
Yeah, we do 5 rows, I think we do.
Wow.
Yeah, but it just has incredible vegetation on the top. Whereas Napoli and I think Yaga was the other 50-day that we trialed, and that did well, too. So
And this tunnel, you went, it looks like hot extended ground posts.
we did.
Yeah.
We did. With the idea that we wanted to get a tractor like up against the sides, but in the end, we're not doing that. You know, the less turnover of soil we can do, the better. We use a BCS in here now, and we don't even use the tiller part of it, but we use the spader type implement part of it to prep between summer and winter beds. Yeah, and that's, you know, I think that makes a difference. You know, otherwise, if we have a little bit of compaction here and there, we will broad fork it, and then we're just raking amendments in.
So even though you're not using the height for the intended purpose, do you feel like there's better temperature or humidity management in here? Because
I do. I also think that your heat sink, too, for the winter is better because you've got a more air volume here. We tend to have a problem with our spinach, you know, in that we just have an aphid breakout. Generally, it's like the third week in March, but we have continually started to add ladybugs and pirate bugs now, too, on a very regular basis and at larger amounts than what they recommend. And we got better results. We actually pushed off our peak aphid explosion until this month, you know, pretty much almost the same, a month later. And a month later, we're kind of ready to rip some of this out anyway, so it's becoming more successful.
Yeah. And I'm noticing this house also, it's got the roll-up sides, no ridge vent, and two gable vents,
Yes.
but everything's passive other than the HAF.
Correct. Yeah, and those roll-up sides can go, because of the height, can go up pretty far. So we get a lot of good air circulation in here for sure in the summer too. Really, everything is pretty happy except for lettuce.
Yeah.
Lettuce is the only crop that we have an issue with, you know, kind of in February, where we see that die off because of crown rot. And
But
I think it's
no heat-related stuff in the summer, or
no.
in here anyway. Yeah, great.
Yeah, and we don't pack our house with tomatoes either. If we do have tomatoes in here and they're beside each other, we're going to skip a bed. So we have better air circulation. We have so much tunnel space that we do that generally.
It's a good problem to have.
Yeah, and we haven't. We do still do tomatoes outside. You know, maybe at some point we will switch that so that we're doing all of our tomatoes in a tunnel, but we haven't made that switch yet. So we can go to the two caterpillar tunnels on the side here. These are, you know, both probably primarily filled with lettuce, but we do have those shallots in the back too. So we are trialing different varieties now of the one-cut lettuces, because some of them I think are more prone to that problem.
Okay. The crown rot problem.
Yeah. And, you know, just conversing with other farmers, there's definitely some that have been eliminated for winter production. Yep, there's some good wind today.
Yeah. So are you mainly doing head lettuce then?
No, this is all for salad mix.
Okay.
So this is 5-row, 6-inch spacing. And many of the Salanova varieties.
Yeah.
And these are oh my goodness, the wind. Yeah, so these are Conserver, right?
Ambition, it looks
Oh,
like.
Ambition.
Yep.
So Ambition in the front, Conserver in the back. We had a heat problem in the back, and those guys died.
Notice you're getting herbs in wherever you can on the perimeter too.
Yeah, we try and get parsley wherever we can along the sides where it stays a little bit cooler and damper. And we do a lot of cilantro for people. So we turn that crop over every 2 or 3 weeks, seeding wise.
Yeah, it's feeling nice in here.
Yeah. And then we do, we just throw some of our leftover garlic as spring garlic in. This one's just been cleared out a little bit more. So, not too much different. This was overwintered escarole,
Oh yeah.
and I think there's frisee in the back, which looked horrible throughout the winter and took off again
Yeah.
in the spring. So it just wasn't very happy going through the winter. And these houses are going to get a lot colder. That cold's going to creep in on the side. We were able to put the the insulation board down on these too.
As far as cat tunnels go, you've really done a good job about like buttoning them down and
Yeah,
making them work well.
as much as we can. Yeah, yeah,
They can be a hard thing to do right.
yeah. I
These are
mean,
really
I like the Farmers Friends construction. They're pretty. I mean, we get some wind here. and-
Yeah.
Is that what these are?
yeah. And they've been really good for us.
Good.
You know, we did try them originally, just kind of bringing the plastic to a point on this end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Couldn't do it here. You know, we just have too much wind,
Huh.
and it just ripped and shredded the front of it. So we did make a point
Hitting
of.
this side. Okay. Yeah.
So we built the poly ourselves, and then. You know, the idea would be to do a poly on the back end too, but we just haven't gotten around to it, and we don't get the kind of wind on the east side. There's another cat tunnel in the back, but that really only has some baby turnips in it and scallions. So if you wanted to,
Little wash pack, Andy.
Oh, absolutely.
This is a cool siding.
this is what they put
Apron?
on dairy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great because we've dropped that in the winter, and it keeps everything clean in here, and it just cranks just like the side of a greenhouse. We have it contained in here.
Is it a mesh screen or is it transparent solid?
No,
Yeah,
solid.
it's a transparent
okay.
solid, so we don't get snow in,
Yeah.
and the wind whips around here, and it would drift in.
Yeah, it would.
So, so yeah, it just kind of comes with a crank,
That's great.
and it's it's got a roll bar in the center of it, and then a roll at the bottom. Yeah, it works really well for us. And I would be tempted to do this on the front of our running shed too, but that's a lot bigger.
Yeah.
I like that the crank's behind a little door.
Yeah, it is. It's all self-contained.
Keeps it protected.
The
Yeah.
tools belong in there.
Yeah.
And, I mean, there's a straight one here too that you can, lock into a drill,
Uh-huh.
and yeah, you can just.
We
use
need
a
to
little
batten down the
drill and do that.
hatches as the storm's
that's
coming
cool.
Exactly. So
So how long has this been here?
so the original barn was that part of the barn and that overhang, and then we added this addition. And this addition, I'm gonna say 6 years,
Okay.
6-7 years. We also got a grant to work on this. So this is basically a 30 by 40 area also, but split into 2 rooms. And we put a bathroom back here and then a break room, and we considered maybe doing some processing in that
Yep.
room too, but it's a little bit small for that. So we limit our processing to vacuum packing pretty much. And we do strawberries and peppers and ginger and turmeric and,
And then-
some melons.
And then freeze them?
And then
Yeah.
vacuum pack them. That's
Yeah.
our vacuum packer. And then we have a stand-up tray freezer.
Happy with the
Yeah,
amount of space
yeah,
you have?
we are. I mean, the one thing I would change is I would make the drain and the floor wider.
Uh-huh. For clean out?
Yep.
Or, yeah.
Yeah.
That
And
is
we
a-
also have this goes out to like it's almost like a sewage system. So there's a 2-tank scenario, and
Okay.
then it pumps out to
Okay.
like a sand mound. So we have a filter in the last one to catch, a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And, we know when that's full because it starts
Starts
to
back up.
It just doesn't really flow, yeah.
That's a hose reel I haven't seen before. Flowmaster?
I love it.
Yeah.
Totally love it. And that little stop on the,
That is beautiful.
that is
yeah.
like some kind of European garden hose thing. And we just mounted it on the ceiling upside down, and it's fantastic.
That's nice.
And it stops, and then you just let it go.
Andy, did you see the hot and cold mix?
I did.
Yeah, that's so we don't freeze our fingers off. We do have a little hot water coming in there for the winter.
Makes a world of a difference.
Yeah, it does. It does. So this is mostly our break room, but we do have this stand-up freezer,
Oh, that's nice.
and that's how we freeze everything, the strawberries loose
Yeah.
on a tray, and that does a really nice job.
So it actually takes trays, yeah.
It takes trays. Yep, that's a separate thing that you can buy as an insert.
Yeah.
And then everything freezes flat too.
Yeah.
So that it fits into your freezer in a much better way. We sell a lot of frozen stuff. I mean, we sell strawberries, and kind of this is our
Oh, yeah.
stock.
Isn't that beautiful?
Oh, fun.
Yeah. So we've got this is ginger in pretty much quarter-pound packs, red and yellow peppers, strawberries, a pound.
Some vegetable broth. What a great idea.
Yeah, we did that too. It's not exactly a big seller.
Yeah.
And this was squash too. Can't recommend that either. It's a zucchini and yellow squash mix. It looks really pretty, but once you get it defrosted and in something, it's mush.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Squishy pellets in a
So-
stew.
yeah, pig food. And then dehydrator, we do some dehydrating of herbs, but not a lot of that. And then this is the first cooler that we did, and this was a tack room to go with the horse stalls, which
I love that latch.
Yeah, my 80-something-year-old mother-in-law made this. She made the whole door out of parts of spare insulation that were laying around, and she pieced together 2 layers so that it was 4 inches, and built the door, and then made this latch. So I hope when I'm 80-something, I'm doing the same kind of
me too.
thing. So this is ginger germinating. We're about ready to take this out. It's getting pretty tall, but we're kind of waiting for things to not go down to 34 degrees. So the ginger has germinated well. We bought all of our ginger through a co-op, just, standard $3.30 something a pound rather than $9 or $10 a pound, where you can get it at other places. And then we got our turmeric this year from a grower in Florida. And that's been very slow, but generally turmeric is very slow. It takes much longer. We seeded this, 3/8.
Oh, yeah.
So,
you bought ginger at like the food co-op?
Yeah.
Off the retail shelf? Yeah.
yep, yeah, bulk.
Yeah.
I mean, it can be hit or miss.
Uh-huh.
Sometimes they sit in the warehouse for a while.
Uh-huh.
So that's just pivoting on that screw.
Yep. And this is got a little tiny rubber band kind of thing in it. And then you just shove it up against this wedge.
Love it.
Yeah. Yep. It does well. It seals well. And that's about the tour.
Wonderful. Wow.
This is sweet.
Thanks
Yeah.
so much, Sue. Appreciate
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
My pleasure.
Thanks for listening to today's episode. I hope you enjoyed it. If I can ask you or direct you to do one thing, that is to go to the website for this podcast, agengpodcast.com. That's agengpodcast.com. There you'll find the show notes. You'll find links to the farmer who we chatted with today, as well as photos or videos from the call when I visited the farm. If you've got some feedback to share, my contact information's on there, or you can leave me a voicemail, and you can do that right from the link in the description in the mobile app you're listening to this to. So go ahead and do that. Thanks again for listening, and I hope you have a great day.